Okay, sorry about that, folks. A little hot under the lights at times and a little bit of a choke and jag there. But so we're back. We're talking about where we're seeing the CAWF, what direction they're headed in.
Yeah, no, we were talking about CAWF becoming an actual sport with Sports Canada. Right now, we're not with them at this time, and we've tried twice. So much red tape to follow. We meet all the criteria. We're going to try again. As I was saying, the money is an issue all the time. We need a little bit more of it in order, because that's part of the whole deal. Because of course, once they recognize us as a sport, then we become dependent on them, as you know, they got to help us out in some fashion and stuff. And we don't really care about the money help. It would be nice if we have it, but what we're really after is just the recognition. Once we recognize there, that'll in turn help WAF to become even a stronger force, because the more countries that can belong to their Olympic associations or their national sporting groups, the stronger, the more legit it makes all of our World Arm Wrestling Federation look. So
it makes you look like a legitimate organization, and
right.
gives you some credibility. So basically is what you're looking for, as opposed to everybody out there who thinks arm wrestling is just this barroom thing.
And not to say that it's not a credible organization now. It is. It's just that we want it in the eyes of the Olympic people, or the eyes of FILA, or any organization that could help us along the way, like GASFIS, which is the General Assembly Sports International Federation, just like a type of a holding tank before the Olympics.
Okay.
If we could even get membership into that, it's very costly. Again, money is the issue. So, and these are the organizations that we'd like to see WAF headed towards, to belong with them, and then we'll take it from there as we go along.
Okay, so anything else for the CAWF that we need to be working on? Or?
Well, no, I'm really proud of the way our people have pulled together since I've been president of the Canadian Federation since 1989, so I must be doing something right. I keep getting elected every year, or else nobody else wants to run. I'm not sure what it is. But, I've kept focus on what I want to see done. I pushed for the referee stuff, and the guys from Atlantic Canada came to bat, and they put it all together for us exactly the way we had wanted, and even went beyond the Call of Duty and did things beyond what we even expected. So
we'll give credit at this point to Rick Pinckney,
exactly,
Rick Pinckney, the referee in chief for the CAWF. Who's I know behind only because Rick and I are friends, and I try and help Low when I can. He has worked long and hard on his referee stuff.
And he did such a good job. Like, we gave him the mandate, he grabbed that ball and went with it. And that foundation that we got in Canada is what we use at the World Federation level, and it's been phenomenal.
So is it making a difference?
Oh, absolutely. All our referees, that was, you'd go to tournaments, that was the biggest complaint. It was refereeing this, refereeing that. Now you seldom hear that. You will always hear a little bit of it. Yes. But it's improved like 200%. It's amazing the difference it's made.
Okay, so that's the CAWF. So we seem to be heading in the direction that the executive and yourself think we need to be. So what about on the WAF level?
Well, like we talked, we're trying to get into with the FILA, GASFI, and eventually to the Olympics. And if we can do all of those things, the big thing again is our membership is getting there. Man, we've got an incredible amount of people in the WAF, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Last year in Manchester, England, biggest tournament we've ever had. We had a few logistic problems at that tournament, so it took away from the thunder of it, of being the biggest. Those problems we had took away the thunder of that, but it still was a very successful tournament, and hats off to Neil Pickup and his crew that did that. But we took all of the problems we had there, we turned them into opportunities, and we're going to learn from those, and and help everybody out that way. This year in Bulgaria, I think it's going to be even larger than Manchester, England, and the World Arm Wrestling Federation is gearing up for that. We've developed a program which we're testing here at the Nationals this weekend to make sure it's going to work, and it'll be able to do all of the draws, all of the entries, everything, and it'll be really quick and a lot more efficient than what we've been doing in the past.
You say a program, so that's a computer program that's been designed?
That's right, a computer program.
Okay.
There are some that are out there, but they all have their difficulties. For example, the one they use in Europe, it'll only operate in amounts of 8, like it's all 8 increments all the time.
Okay.
And so it has a difficulty in odd-numbered weight classes, if there's 35 or 13 or...
Okay, yeah.
And it doesn't do it right then. The one we've developed, eat up all of that stuff. It automatically places the people where they should be. It understands the concept that we wanted, and our computer guys, we took them. Actually, Lise Blanchard was the major push behind it, and she took them and she walked them through exactly how the tournaments ran and how she wanted it all to see progress as we went through it. And the guy says, I don't know if I can do this, but I'll try it. And so far, it looks like that's exactly how it's going to work. So we're going to test it out this weekend, and that's what we want to use in Bulgaria. We're talking about using up to 8 tables in Bulgaria.
Well, I heard that. I will say, my little personal note on Manchester, even though you say there were some logistical problems, what it boils down to, personally, is the arm wrestlers, and I still thought they put on a great show.
Absolutely.
Working 6 tables, for me, was a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, it worked well. Like, the referees pulled it off. And
yeah, the referees and the draw sheet people seemed to have everything going, and the arm wrestlers, again, put on a phenomenal show.
Yeah, it was really good quality arm wrestling going on there.
So you're talking about 8 tables in Bulgaria?
Yeah. And I talked with Leonard Harkless, who's the referee-in-chief for the World Federation, and he seems to think it's doable. We've got quite a few registered master referees, qualified master referees on the world level, and if we can get at least 8 of those guys there, and they'll work with say like a level 3 referee as a spot referee, and we can keep rotating people in and out of that, and we should be able to do it. We'd like to see about 24 referees there.
Wow.
To work in and out, because those are long days, and you're not to take away from any of the smaller local tournaments, but you're dealing with really high quality athletes, really high standard athletes there, and
you never get a match off, so to speak.
That's right. You want to be able to make sure that you've got complete control of it, and so that both the athletes have got a good, fair game going on.
So with 8 tables, just and of course no one's going to hold you to anything. So what kind of country participation, entry participation are we talking about to have to more than 8 tables?
We're looking at 1,500 competitors, not arms, but actual competitors. So that's like, if everybody entered left and right, that'd be like 3,000. 3,000 entries.
Yeah, crazy.
So that's why we want to make sure this computer program is going to work and handle those amounts that we're going to be throwing at it.
And how many countries now are actively involved? Do you think are going to be in Bulgaria representatives?
We've got 70 member countries that are actually members of us, but about 45 countries that are actively participating. And this year we may have a few little problems getting people in because of visa problem, especially from Africa and the Asian countries, because of their difficulty in traveling and obtaining the visas, and a lot of time performance bonds have to be put up front, and some of the countries that aren't financially able to do that, but we're looking hopefully for the full 45 for sure there, and maybe 50 countries. 45 to 50 countries, 1,500 athletes. That's going to be great. It's going to be really big. And Asen Hajidorov, who's our host this year, the Bulgarian Federation, they're doing a very big job on trying to get it toned right down for TV production. And so we're going to have to be disciplined to the maximum to make sure that this all happens. We've got to be finished by a certain time. With the program that we're setting up, it's going to be all the electric monitors all over for the referees, so we should be able to expedite things along a lot quicker. And we got to be done by a certain time every day. So it's going to be So it sounds like, the WAF and the executive learn from each tournament that's held. So last year, and Neil Pickup and his crew of people put on a big, at that time it was a huge world event, the largest. That's right. At that time. So and with whatever logistical problems there were, did you learn your lessons? Okay, we have this many things, we're going to have to change this. That's right. The big thing is that everybody has to work together on it, and I found that there was a little too much deviation from that. It was like there wasn't as much working together last year, and I think that's where the problems came in. We were spread out way too much all over the place, and we incurred a lot of extra costs, which cost Neil as well as the World Arm Wrestling Federation. So Asen has seen that, but he's looked to making sure everything's going to be in the one place, nice and close. I think the furthest hotel is like maybe 10-minute walk. Okay. If it goes over. We want everybody to be using all the host hotels so that everything will run a lot smoother that way, everything in one place, and I think it's going to work out really good. Okay, so we've pretty well touched on everything, CAWF, WAF. On a couple of personal things for you, so you just last night
This is, what, Saturday, August the 4th. So on Friday, August the 3rd, you were just re-elected as CAWF President. Now, is that a role you want to continue to do?
Well, for the I've been elected for the next 2 years, so I will.
For 2 years you're there, but
for sure 2 years. And then I've been president of the World Arm Wrestling Federation since 1998. Went through 2 elections, got re-elected there, and the next elections was 2008 in Kelowna, at the Worlds in Kelowna. I guess at that time I'll just see where my head's at, and you know, 10 years. I've been in the sport for 30 years. I've seen it go really far. Part of me wants to kick back and retire. I am retired right now, actually officially, but I'm
from work. You're from work life. Okay,
that's right, from work life.
Yeah.
I am retired.
Oh, we just re-elected you and you're retired.
So I'm old enough for that part of it, and part of me wants to just take off and do the things I like to do in retirement, and I'm building a new home in the fall, and you know, stuff like that. But the other part of me wants to stick with the arm wrestling. I've been at it for so long, it gets in you, and you just can't seem to let it go.
Okay, you know what? Speaking on that though, when you just said, part of me wants to kick back and do the things that I like to do. Isn't arm wrestling something you like to do with the good, the bad? I know I've taken grief if I've made a decision. Hold on, are we supposed to do this for fun?
Yeah, that's why part of me wanted to leave, because after last year it turned out it wasn't really fun. The slander and stuff that came at me from the internet and from other places, I couldn't believe it, and I was really dispirited from it. I just didn't even want to be a part of that anymore. And you know what? You just kick back and again take the opportunities that you're presented to you and learn from them and carry on. And I know we're doing all the right things. There's those out there that are critical about it. They're the guys that never do anything in the sport anyway. They ack and quack, and they go to compete in a few tournaments, and they know everything, but they do nothing. So with that said, I'll see what the people think. If they feel happy with what we're doing, maybe I'll stick around. If not,
well, so for the next 2 years, you're still going to be the president of CAWF.
That's right.
You don't have to make any decision on the WAF front until 2008.
Yeah.
So you have the next year or so to decide if you want to reoffer your services.
If they nominate me again, like, it's up to the membership.
It's up to the membership, but it's also up to you if you want to reoffer again yourself, right?
That's right. And I don't want to be in a position, if I'm not doing it for the fun, I don't want to be in that. I'm doing it for the fun, and I love it. I don't want to have to be fighting with people or you know, people slandering me for something and they don't even know anything about it, you know, like, and people are talking blind, they don't have a clue of what they're talking about.
Well, this is part of my statement that I thought we were supposed to do this for fun, and I mean, I have a job. You until recently had a job, so this is what you do in your off time. Well, I don't want to come to a tournament and argue with people all weekend. I come to have some fun.
Right, and we want to be progressive and carry it on. Like, there's a lot of people out there that have different goals. Like, they're opportunists, they want to get out there and they want to make some money off it at the same time as promoting it. But a lot of times, the democracy is going to get in the road of that, and sorry, but that's the way it is. You know? And I've had a lot of some tough goes, and a lot of those the meetings and with people after talking. You know, they all have different agendas, and we're trying to keep it focused going into that one area. Never mind the smoke and mirrors. You know, no matter how foggy it gets, you're going to sail out of that and keep that track going. And so that's what we've been doing. And I think my executive have been doing a heck of a job in supporting me in doing that. And you know, I think we're going to keep going in that direction that we're going, and it will come to pass. And you know, for all the critics out there, carry on. That's part of the game, I guess.
Well, I think that pretty well wraps it up for me, unless there's anything else that you want to add in.
Well, all I can say is that I've met so many great people over the years, in 30 years' time, traveling all over the world and going places that you'd never, ever go just to go. But you go because you went there because you wanted to arm wrestle.
Yeah,
it's amazing, and I just love those people. Like, it's been a great experience, and I hope that what's going to happen is I'm going to experience a lot more over the years. Whether I'm as president of the World Arm Wrestling Federation or just a North American Federation, or maybe just of Canada, or not of any, and just a master referee with it. I'm still happy with doing all that kind of stuff. I just want to be involved. A lot of times I think of myself more as a soldier than the general.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not scared of work, and I like working. A lot of guys tell me I work too much at the at the championships. I should be out talking with with bigger political figures and stuff, and I still do that, but I still do all the other stuff too, So, but it does get very long days, so I'd like to continue doing that kind of stuff. I'd like to see where I could just walk into the place and it's everything is taken care of and it just gets done, And with the program that we've developed, I think that's going to really take a lot of pressure off of us and the executive, off the staff, the WAF staff too. So many days that we run 24 hours sometimes just to make it all happen. A lot of people don't see that. They never even realize it happens. And yet that's the guys that know everything. And we never hear a thank you. It's always like, yeah, see what those guys are doing, type of thing, So, but not to end on a negative note. I've really appreciated all the people that I've met over the years. It's just been amazing. So many of them, and some terrific athletes, terrific organizers, and just genuinely great people. I really enjoy that part of it. So I hope to get to meet a lot more of them in the future again.
Okay, well, I, for one, I appreciate it. Thanks very much for doing this, Fred. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I answered some of your questions. Probably couldn't answer everybody's questions. I don't think I'm interviewing. I just asked Fred if he would sit down and chat in front of the camera. You know what, folks? He said, yeah, no problem, Scott. What do you want to talk about? I said, this is what I want to talk about. Away we went. I made a few notes while I was at breakfast this morning. And you know what? Just for everyone to know, there was nothing Fred said that I could not ask him about. I was free to ask him whatever I wanted. And so I sat down and did. If I didn't ask your specific question, I'm sorry, but I did want to get Fred down in front of the camera. So
we could do it again sometime. If you find any other questions you want answered, I'll gladly sit down with you. No problem.
See, there you go, folks. You just heard it. So for Fred Roy, I'm Scott McGinnis, Armsport Videos in focus at the Canadian Arm Wrestling Championships, and we're out of here.